And I'm going to go ahead and share it live. So give me just one moment. Oh, stop sharing. Let me stop sharing because you can see everything. Okay. So just a moment. Julia, Tanya, hello. Good morning. Tanisha, I see. I need to admit more people. Everyone is back in. And we're just going to wait for people to come in. And as we're waiting, I am posting into our groups. So come on in. It's preparing the live. So as we come in, welcome everyone. I am the host today, Crystal Ifakoya. We're going to get started in about 5 minutes. So while we're doing this little part of it, you all are welcome to chat amongst each other. Julia, maybe tell something interesting about yourself, and then Shamika, you as well. You guys just chime right in while I make sure that we are all live.
Okay. Well, good morning, ladies. My husband and I are avid, rabid University of Oklahoma fans. Now, having said that, go Pokes if you're a Poke or Golden Hurricane person. But that's a little fun fact. And we actually were dancing partners back in the day in college, and it was a few years ago, but we were good. Okay. So I don't ask him to dance now, just saying. But that's just a couple of fun facts about us. We reconnected by face. We got out of college. We lost track of each other and then reconnected 36 years later. God bless Facebook, right? And I saw that he was single, and I said to myself, self, this is game on. So here we are, married for 4 years, 4.5 wonderful years, and he puts up with a lot. So that's a little bit about me. And then Ms. Shamika.
Yes. Well, let's see, fun facts. Oh, I don't know if you guys would think they're fun facts, but I probably read 2 books a week. That's not really fun, but I'm a professional bruncher. So I brunch every weekend, like pretty much every weekend, except for during COVID when we were all shut down, but I pretty much do that. So that's my away from business and work time with my friends and my family. I do have 2 daughters, age 15 and 8, and we're doing virtual school, and it's a challenge and fun at the same time. I guess the next thing I share that I'm also a secret shopper. And so it's for customer service purposes. So I get paid to go buy things and evaluate the company and service. And so I've been doing that for probably 6-7 years.
Oh, that's awesome. So you went mute for a second.
Who, me?
Oh, there it is. Okay. Thank you, everyone who are coming in. Come on in. We're going to take a little bit longer because I am trying to make sure everybody gets admitted in and that we are streaming live. I want to do it Facebook, but sometimes Facebook makes it difficult to get in. So I'm going to post it live to my timeline, because I know I won't have any problems with that. And then I can share it. So let's see, it should go live soon. Oh, While everybody is here, let me go ahead and share the screen again. This is our financial freedom workshop today, the principles of financial freedom. Today we have Shamika Wyatt, who is our credit expert, and Julia Richards Bishop, which is our financial expert, and they will be bringing to us dynamic information so that we can be on the top of our game to become financially free. Um, some other things that we are going to discuss is our giveaway. We have some exciting giveaways today. I will tell you more about it, but to register for our giveaways, go to www.wowwnetwork.org and /win, and make sure that you are signed up so that you can be a part of our drawings today, our free giveaways, and everyone here will receive a free budget, compliments of Boss Encounters, which is my personal business, to be able to maximize on what you're doing. So everyone here will get a free Excel budget to be able to do, and then we have some wonderful paparazzi giveaways as well. So again, please make sure that you are signed up for WHOWnetwork.org /win. So, and here's an example of what the budget is actually going to look like. So make sure you sign up so that you can be a part of our giving for today. Of course, WOW, Women Helping Other Women, that's what WOW stands for. And the material you hear today is informational only. We are not liable for any results that you may get, good or bad. Even though we would like to take credit for the good, we would also have to take credit for the bad. So we're not reliable for the results, but we hope that you use judgment in knowing what will fit within your life. And of course, we always start with corporate prayer. So I'm going to lead us in a little word of prayer today. So if everyone would bow your heads. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for this time that we're able to get together so that we can get ourselves on the top of our game. God, we thank you for this time that we are able to become financially free, especially in the midst of everything that's going on in life right now. God, we ask that you will help us to empower others and that we will become empowered by the word that we hear today, that the ears are opened up to hear what God has to say today, and that people are enlightened and they are given tools to help them to live successful lives. In God's name we pray, amen. So, one of our sponsors who has been our sponsor for the entire 2020 is Allstate. You're in good hands, Miss Ian Wilson. You can reach them online at Allstate and they are available for you. Thank you to our sponsor, Allstate. Again, the giveaway. And we're going to start with the giveaway, which will be for the budget. So anyone that signs up today, they will receive before the end of today a link to be able to sign up for the budget. So make sure you sign up for the free budget that we will be giving away. And after each speaker, we will also be giving away a paparazzi compliments of Miss Angela Chambers, who is a paparazzi agent. So we're going to dive right in, because this dynamic lady that is about to come on the screen, anybody that knows anything about becoming financially free, your ability to have good credit is going to greatly affect you becoming financially free. So the lady that I have coming up today, Miss Shamika Wyatt, is an expert in this field, and she's going to give us some both personal and business tips to become more financially free. So without further ado, I'm going to stop sharing my screen, and I'm going to bring this lady up. You're muted. And then I'm going to spotlight you.
Okay, good morning, everyone. My name is Shamika Wyatt. I am the owner of First Class Financial Solutions, LLC. I specialize in financial coaching. So I help with budgeting, debt repayment plans, also credit restoration. I became a credit expert. I started the process about 4 years ago. And just a little background, I have degrees in both accounting and finance. And when I studied finance, the section on credit was probably a page. It talked about, pay your bills on time, work with your creditors. It talked about the Fair Credit Reporting Act, the additional laws, and that's it. Nothing told you, the benefits of it. Nothing told you, if things happen, what can you do to get back on track? So that's how I started with my own credit. I joined a group and began to just learn as much as I could about credit. Once I got myself in position, I started sharing with my family and friends. And then they started telling people, and before I knew it, I had a business, and here I am. One of the things is very important to know is you control your credit score. Do not let your credit score control you. So anytime you open a new account or want to pay something off early or want to refinance, be very strategic. Know how it will affect your credit score. Know how the outcome, if it will be good or bad, and just going forward, what's the best benefit? How do you get your credit score the highest? Next slide.
I don't think the slides are showing, so I'm going to have you to share your.
You want me to share my screen? Okay.
Yes. You should be able to. If not, let me see. Okay, now you should be able to share your screen. Is it coming up?
Okay, can you see it?
No. Now, yeah, something's coming up now.
Can you see it now?
Yes, yes.
Oh, okay.
That's so cute.
Oh, okay. Well, okay. So again, Shamika White. So let's see. Okay, so this is what I was saying about controlling your credit score. So just jumping in, the importance, you want to have the lower interest rates. When you have lower interest rates, it enables you to save money. You're not paying, if someone else has the same product, or you're not paying too much for your borrowed funds. It puts you in a position to be a homeowner, or if you're already a homeowner, you can refinance or borrow against your equity. It helps you not to have deposits, lower insurance rates. Employment can be a factor, especially if you're in the financial spectrum. They want to make sure that finances kind of go with your character. So sometimes they balance that on, is they credit worthy? Stress. Stress can be the number one leading thing, for divorce, and most of it is financial free and working on budgets and that kind of thing. It gets you in a different mindset. Once you're able to take control of your finances, it will help with your stress level in the financial area. Another thing, and we'll talk about later, is business credit. Sometimes, in most cases, you'll want to separate your personal credit from business credit. But sometimes, you have to use your personal credit to fund your business. So, that can start with your business credit, and then leveraging. You want to use other people's money. For instance, if you do have cash flow, you may not want to tie up your liquid assets. You may want to borrow at a lower interest rate. That way you can have your liquid funds, or you can even invest for a higher return on your money. Another thing I wanted to talk about is the new scoring system. Some creditors have already started using it, kind of rolled out this summer. You probably won't see too many people have it until probably, the end of the year. But what's coming up is some new changes, and, credit scoring will affect pretty much everyone. One thing I want to point out is credit utilization. So with FICO 8 and 9, they encourage you to have a zero balance. If you had the zero balance, you got the most points in that area. Well, no longer. They're wanting you to actually have a balance, a low balance, but they do want you to have a balance. They wanted to see that you are using your credit, that you're using it, and you're being responsible. If you're not using your credit cards often, then they're not able to see a pattern. So they're kind of wanting to see more of a pattern. So 1% is the best utilization at this time. Another big factor is collections. Collections can really, really bring down a credit score. So previous scoring models, our aim was to remove the collection, because if it wasn't removed, your score didn't increase as much. But now, if you pay it off and it shows paid, not settled, but paid, it will be excluded from your score. So that will help a lot of people as well. They were going to remove medical collections, but they are going to remain on your credit report, but they will be less harmful. And I did attend a FICO workshop. They didn't discuss as far as how it would be less harmful, but it won't be considered the same as a non-medical collection. Then for inquiries. So inquiries now stay on your report for 24 months. But they're only weighted for the last 12 months. So under the new system, they will only be weighted for the last 6 months. So if you need to open up some new credit, and say you may need to get 2 or 3 new credit cards, just, to have your total accounts, or for whatever reason, a good thing will be to do them all in the same month. And that way you take your hit, and then later going forward, it'll ease up for you. Okay, the CARES Act. How did this kind of affect some credit things? One thing is, some of you may know, is student loans. So any loans that was owned by Department of Education have been deferred. So originally they were deferred to September 30th. Now we have until December 31st. During this time, no payments are due, no interest is being accrued. If you're wanting to make payments, you can make payments, but it will report on your credit report as being paid. If you have a private loan, there are still some plans available. You do have to call to ask. They were not automatic. Credit reporting agencies have been giving a longer length of time to review. So originally with the Fair Credit Reporting Act, they had 30 days, which could be extended to 45. So now they have, they didn't really say in the CARES Act, they just allowed them additional time. So it has been taking about 60 days for review. So if you're in a dispute process, or if you're working with a credit repair agent, then you may be seeing some delays in changes in your credit reports. And that's just because, credit reporting agencies, as well as everyone else, other creditors, they're really taking advantage of all the access they have to the COVID changes. And in your case, if you have been affected, you should use it to your advantage as well and ask for help. And many creditors, many companies have different plans in place, for your credit cards, if you're unable to make a payment, or if you can ask for a lower interest rate. And the key word when you're asking for help is COVID. Due to COVID, I have less hours, or I don't have enough funds, or whatever the case may be, be sure to ask for help. I know the Consumer Protection Bureau, they are working with a lot of people. They do not want a credit crisis due to COVID. So they're really trying to work hard to make sure that credit reports actually reflect a person's credit history, and not just during this pandemic. Okay, So if you're looking for ways to increase your credit, sometimes I work with people who have a low score, and their score is low mainly due to maxed out credit cards. Maxed out credit cards can lower your score 100 points or more. So you will want to work to get your credit cards paid down. The best method to pay down your credit cards, if you have multiple, is the snowball method that Dave Ramsey talks about, where you focus on one credit card at a time, get it paid off, and then roll those payments until the next one. If you have a credit report that does not have any credit cards or line of credits reporting, you are missing points. So you actually have to have a credit card. You actually have to, or a line of credit. If you're unable to be approved, get a secured credit card. Also, you can get self-lender loans. Now, that won't help for your credit usage, but it would help for your credit mix if you have a thin credit profile. Another area I see on credit reports are late payments on student loans or charged off in default loans. So what happens with a student loan is each semester you take out a loan, that's a new account. So once you complete schooling, you can have, anywhere from, 6 to 12 accounts. So that's 12 accounts reporting, although you're making one payment to the creditor. If you miss one payment, that's going to reflect on your credit report as 10 missed payments instead of one. So that can really hurt your payment history, which is 35% of your score. So if you have multiple student loans and you have late payments, one way to get around that is consolidate your student loans. What will happen once you consolidate them, all the old loans will be closed and you'll have a new account. So that will count towards a new account. So your length of credit may decrease. Also, but your payment history will increase because those late payments will not be factored in your current score. They still will be listed on your report and included in your total accounts, but they will not be calculated in your payment history. So once you consolidate and get a new loan, you will have just the one payment and you can start from scratch with your payment history. Another important aspect of increasing your credit is the power of the authorized user. Authorized users still help your credit. They help really in all 5 fields. With an authorized user, you're able to piggyback off someone's payment history, their length of credit. This can be used if you are just in the rebuilding stages. If someone has had their account, a credit card, for instance, for 10 years with a $5,000 credit limit, it will show on your report as the same 10 years, the same credit limit. So that is instant access to payment history. It can also help you length of credit, credit mix. It helps in every stage. Negotiations for pay for deletions. Although with the new system, your collections, if paid, won't be counted against you, but creditors will still be able, lenders will still be able to see them. So you'll want to still ask for those to get removed just so your credit report is clean. Next thing a lot of people don't do is ask for goodwill adjustments. And this is mainly for open accounts. So in a case, if you have an auto loan, and you were late, 2 years ago, it's still showing on your credit report. Really after 2 years, it doesn't affect you as much. So it will be more prominent to use it if it's some new late pays. And this is where you would send a letter to the creditor and ask them to go ahead and waive either the late payment or just showing late, because of a situation. And many times, they will remove. If you have a pattern of being late, they may not. But if you just have been late, you had a medical situation or an emergency come up, most lenders will go ahead and remove that. Now, this is not something normally you can do through customer service. you will have to do a little research and, find out, maybe send this to the CEO of the company or the CFO. So you need to send it to someone who can make decisions. Sometimes customer service, if you speak with them, they say they can't do it, or maybe they can't, it depends on who you call, but definitely do it in writing and send it to someone who can make decisions on behalf of the company. So if you have pretty good credit and you're like, hey, Shamika, I've been at a 730 and I don't know what to do. I'm still here. It's not increasing. What can I do to get in 800s? With the FICO algorithms, they do not really give you a pinpoint of, what gets you a perfect score. So there's been, several surveys done, and people who have an 850 credit score, what they have in common is they have some kind of real estate loan on their credit report, whether it's paid off or not. They have 100% payment history. They have an average length of credit of 15 years. So if you're just building your credit, you won't have that length of credit, but you can use an authorized user to help get that credit. I do know I have a friend, her grandmother has had her JCPenney card over 30 years. So with her being added to that, it really helped increase her length of credit as well as payment history. You need total accounts over 20. And so total accounts include the open and closed accounts. So closed accounts are your paid off accounts that's still on there. You need more than 20, and more than half of those need to be trade lines. So if you currently, you could have had 30 accounts and you have 10 that's current, you'll probably need of that 10, 6 to be credit cards. And when you're like, oh, that's a lot of credit cards. Well, 10 or more credit cards is not uncommon. And the best way to deal with credit cards without attaining debt is use one credit card for one item. So you may have a credit card that you only pay with your gym membership. You have a credit card you only buy gas. You have a credit card only for groceries. And then you can use one for maybe a utility bill. You don't want to use it for any bills that may charge you for using a credit card, but if there's no fee, just separate them. That way you're not incurring any new debt and you're able to continually use your card so it avoids being closed. Another thing is credit limits. Now, if you have over 10 credit cards, it won't be hard to have 25,000 in available credit. Most of these people, although they did have over 25, most had over 50. So it could be a combination or somewhere in between, but higher credit limits. I know sometimes people receive credit limits. They're like, oh, should I decline the credit limit? And no, you should not. If you are having trouble with credit cards, and that's something you'll have to work on. There's things you can do, leave your credit card at home. You can actually cut it up. If you're having something auto drafted from your credit card and then you're just paying your credit card with your bank account, you don't actually need the card, so you can just cut it up. That way you don't have the access. Another thing we discussed is about having a balance. We're no longer aiming for zero balance. But they do pay it off each month. And the thing to notice with that is when the creditors report to the credit agencies, normally they report once a month. And normally they were on the reporting date is normally before the due date. So you have to be a little more strategic and actually call them, ask them, what date do you report to the credit bureaus? That way you know how much or when to pay it, so you can have a 1 to 3% reflect on your credit report. Then the other thing is no derogatory items in the last 24 months. And 24 months is really the risk that they look at, just the last 24 months. So maybe if you had a real estate loan, if you've had it for, 20 years, and maybe back, in 2012, you had some missed payments. It's still showing on your credit report, but it's not going to be factored in as much. So it won't be so heavily weighted, even though you were late in the past. It's not heavily weighted if it's not within the last 24 months. So those are some things to help kind of with your personal credit. to get things, in perspective, learn how to increase it. If you do need to speak with someone, I am available to look at your personal situation and talk about the dispute process. Another thing I want to share with you guys is about business credit. Right now, everybody we're, into, you need multiple incomes, grow your business. And when I started with mine, I was intermingling funds. I used my personal credit cards to buy things for my business. When I made revenue on my business, I put it in my personal checking account. I paid my personal things, and that was my goal. I wanted to use my business to pay off my debt. So as I paid off credit cards and other things, I used it, for my personal. So I started building business credit about a year ago. And one thing it does is it gives you financing. It gives you the ability to form relationships with lenders and get, funding to help with your business. You want to keep your business separate from your personal, and that's really for liability. Just like when you set up your business, you want to set it up so you're not personally liable. You want it to be separate. Then also, if you're self-employed, that's what the lenders are going to look at. It's your bank statements. So you don't want them to look, at your personal if you don't have to, and you have all these transactions, and it can be some things you may not want to share. What can you use the funding for? You can use it to expand your business. Maybe you want to buy a building instead of rent, or you want to get more inventory. You want to maybe do wholesale. It also helps with everyday expenses, just by borrowing money, just to have that cushion or anything for emergencies, depending on what kind of business you have. And then you form relationships, as I was stating, with lenders, and you can get better repayment plans. Maybe instead of net 30, you have net 60, and you will have the lowest interest rates. And it really helps just fund your business and to continue to grow. Sometime, if you need to get some new technology or just things that, you don't want to tie up your revenue to get, it's just one of those things to use other people's money to grow your business. When you're building a credible business, of course, we need business structure. So file with the Secretary of State, set up an LLC, corporation, whatever you need, and really, when you're doing that, you're going to get your articles of incorporation. Then you also need to do an operating agreement. And this is just for the structure. Who are the members of your company? What is their percentage? Or if you're just self, that's fine as well. You just need to have those items in place. You need an EIN number from the IRS, a license if one is needed, an address. I know when I set up my business, I did use my home address. I did have to go back and amend my articles. I did change my address. Speaking with the lender, and maybe not for some of the beginner credit, but when you get up there, a finance lender at a bank, he told me they actually will Google the address. And so if it's a residential, depending on what it is, it may be okay, but not all businesses are good for home. And it suggested do not use your P.O. box, and some of those UPS virtual offices don't work as well either. I do use a company, Opus, OPUS, for a monthly fee, and I can have my items shipped there. They'll take my phone calls, they do a lot. So just kind of look into the virtual address scene. Phone numbers. Sometimes they tell you to get a fax and toll free. I don't know if that's really helped me, but you do need a phone number you can list with 411 and other directories. Now, your cell phone number is unable to be listed. Someone did tell me you can use Google Voice. I have not verified that, but it may work. As long as it can be listed with 411, then that will work. A website is very important for your business. It shows you're doing business, and it's also give you some e-commerce. You can access people online. A company email address, this is important too. So you don't want to have your business at gmail.com. So if you're just starting, that's fine, But as you want to build a credible business, you want to get that change to your company. You don't want to use Google. You want to use, go through some of these sites, GoDaddy, or there's a bunch that you can use for minimal and get your own email address. A business bank account, again, that's intermingling funds, and you want to show business. You want to show, constant deposits, show your transactions coming out. And then a merchant account can be important as well, especially for me. I used to take a lot of Cash App and Venmo, which is nothing wrong with those, but speaking with someone, she was like, yeah, you need to get a merchant account so you can, just take payments directly, from your website. And so it did actually help in that aspect, because some of those are less private, and then things can happen. So building your credit without the personal guarantee. So sometimes people will get business credit cards that are attached to personal. So this can reflect in different ways because it's going to show on both. So if you're using a lot of your business credit card, it's going to increase your usage on your personal. If that's not a big deal, that's fine. That can kind of give you a head start. But I built my business credit with no PGs because I didn't want the attachment. Business credit scoring is different. It's from 0 to 100 with 80 or above, a good score. And you have to do things differently. We didn't have to register with Experian, Equifax, or anyone. Business credit, you do need to register with Dun & Bradstreet, and they're the largest credit bureau for business. You will need a DUNS number. Sometimes creditors will ask for your DUNS number, not always. Dun & Bradstreet, Equifax, and Experian are the three main credit bureaus, but a lot are now using Credit Safe as well. With Dun & Bradstreet, you don't need to pay for a membership. The free is okay. You don't need a membership. You still will be able to check your accounts. When you are getting credit, most creditors do not report to all four. They may report to one, they may report to two. So it's important when you're looking at suppliers and vendors to know who they report to so you can get a balance on all your credit reports. As I was speaking for, most terms are 30 days. So what happens with this is if you buy something for $1,000 and you have net 30, you need to pay it off in 30 days. So you're not able to make a minimum payment. You have to pay the full balance. And so that's helpful when you're trying to do your business budget, to know what to pay for. Okay, so with building your business credit, there are levels. So you have to start with beginner credit. And this is just to really pretty much get a credit report started for you. Until you have things post, you won't have anything under your business name. Once you get tier 1 accounts, then you can move forward. I did list a few here. There's probably about 30 that I'm for sure know of, but these are like some of the easiest to work with. The approval is instant. I do know maybe with Uline, they may require you to do 2 to 3 orders before you're approved, but I know the others are not. I was talking about getting a phone number. And so if you want to get a phone number, Global Voice Direct has really low plans, and they report for your business credit. Not everyone does, so you have to make sure that they do. If you need a website, Puffer Web is another one. You can make monthly payments, and they will make your great site. Wells Fargo, get a secured card. Not many people offer business secured cards, so that's a really good way. I believe the minimum balance is $500, but you can increase it, and then once you get accounts reporting, it can convert to an unsecured like some of the other things. Once you get 5 to 7 tier accounts, oh, I'm so sorry. You can move on to tier 2, 3, and 4 accounts. And this process can take about 6 to 12 months because they don't report every month. They report when you need it. It's just different from personal credit. And it may take some time. From once you set up your account, it could take, 45 days for it to appear on your business credit report. There are a lot of places you can check. NAB is a good place to check your business credit reports. Most of the time you will have to pay a fee. You don't get a free report like your personal. You have to pay a fee to see what's on. Then with business credit, anybody can check your credit. With personal, you have to have applied for something. But if I wanted to check someone's business credit, I'll just pay a fee and check it. So that's one thing to know, that it's not private. It is open. So, I didn't do a slide, but so that concludes the presentation. So are there any questions or anything in the chat?
Hold on, I'm coming back up. I gotta unmute everybody. So, okay, so now everybody has the ability to unmute yourself. If you have questions, you are welcome to ask. Thank you, Shamika. Like, that was amazing information. Just listening to that, I mean, you said something that I really need you to highlight about the business part. You said there was a place that you could go that will for you to take calls, and what all was it? They do calls, they do a lot of
the
stuff.
Virtual office.
Yes.
So yes, so I think it's $99 a month, but you get an address, you get a telephone number, a fax number, and you can have items shipped there. They will answer the phone for you or transfer it to your line. So it does come with a receptionist.
Oh my gosh, that is amazing. So if you all are business owners, which a lot of you all on this call right now, I know are business owners. I think for me, that was one of the most important, but let me jump over here to the chat.
Looks like Sharon has some questions. Hey,
yes.
Sharon. A trade line, a credit card, a line of credit. And should I get a virtual address for my business? Are you wanting business credit? If you're wanting business credit and you're wanting to start that, I would. If you're not wanting to start your business credit, I will wait, because it's an extra bill. So it will be, a monthly expense if you want a virtual office. And how do I get a merchant account? You can get it through your bank, whoever your checking account is with, or they do have some business merchant accounts vendors available. And you can contact me and I can give you some more information. The screen before the last was interesting. Okay. Okay, were there any more questions? And I just did a quick highlight with the time we were given, and I still might have went over a little bit.
I mean, with the information that we just got, I'm sure nobody minds that you went over at all. That was amazing. Amazing, amazing information. And hold on, I'm trying to make sure we have everybody taken care of. Okay, so I'm gonna put her contact information on the screen for you guys so that you can find Miss Shamika. Thank you again, Miss Shamika, for taking time out of your busy schedule to talk to us about credit. I mean,
Athena, unmute her mic. She said Bank of the West has a special. Can you talk more about that?
Athena, can you unmute yourself and talk about that right quick?
Yes, they are offering a merchant account. I opened up a bit, it's kind of like my personal / business, but it's under my LLC. And they gave me they're going to give me $150 as long as I deposit $1 to $2 every month to avoid the monthly maintenance fee.
Gotcha.
And they
that's awesome.
they offer me the merchant account, And then they also offered me a business credit card, but I didn't take it right now because I wanted to learn more from you guys.
We'll definitely get the business credit card. That is
Yeah.
going to come in handy. Also, things that you want to keep in mind is making sure that with dealing with them, make sure you look at their fees, because a lot of times there's hidden fees and you don't find out until it happens. Like the first time you get a chargeback, or the first time that somebody decides, oh, I'm canceling my purchase with you. How does that affect you? So knowing the business terms and what they do, because just because you aren't aware of it up front doesn't mean it isn't going to bite you on the back end. So, okay, we have another, let me see. For the first card, is this a good time to apply for? Is this a good time, Shamika, to apply for multiple cards, or should people wait?
Well, I don't, I would say yes. Now, I will say a lot of creditors are not giving as high of limits, and some on your current cards may even be decreasing your limits. But if you're trying to build your credit regardless, if you're applying for multiple, I would do it in the same time frame. That way, when you start for your length of credit, you don't want to get one this month, then you get one next month, and then your length of credit is decreased because now you have two. One is 2 months, one is 1 month. So go ahead and take the hit all at once. So whatever you're applying for, apply for it together. That way they can grow together and you're not resetting your length of credit.
That's amazing. Now, I do have one other question for you, because this affects me personally, and that is student loan debt.
Mhm.
Something that affects not only your ability to buy a house, but a car and everything else. Do you have any tips for people that have student loan debt to be able to still have purchasing power?
You know, honestly, just stay on top of it. Really, hopefully they change it again. I know before 2017, if you were in deferment, they didn't factor your student loans in when they did your debt to equity for your home ownership, but now they do. So really, it's no way to get around it unless they go back and change the rules again. So you really just have to increase your income.
So increasing your income and reducing your debt is basically the only
Yeah,
way.
reduce your other debt. Yeah, and I mean, student loans, depending on how much you have, you could be paying on those for 10 to 20 years, so.
Exactly. Exactly. But I will say that if you do have a student loan, one way to get rid of that debt permanently is to work for a nonprofit or a government agency for 10 years while you're making the payments. They actually
That's
count
true.
the months of the payment. So you make 10 years, which is equivalent to 120 months worth of payments, and you will see that that debt is being reduced. And once you have that letter, you can show that to your creditor. And I know this only because I just went through this personally. Let me,
Yes, they do have loan forgiveness
yes,
and it's nonprofits, government, and there is some more. Teachers have a little bit. There's some other sectors that have it too, but you do have to make 120 payments, even if you've been at the government for 10 years and you can't double up payments.
yeah,
They see that a lot. You have to make the 120. So if you've paid on it for 10 years, your balance not going to be as much, but there still will forgive the rest of it.
yes. And Tanisha put in the chat that you can try consolidating the student loans if you haven't already. And
Mhm.
pay more toward payoff or snowball them. So if you're not able to work for a government agency or a nonprofit, consolidating and going ahead and snowballing that. And even if you are in an income driven plan, you would still
Mhm.
be eligible for the 10-year payoff. But 10
That's
years is a
correct.
long time.
It is.
So
And I will like to state, if you are already in a nonprofit or government, been making payments, if you consolidate, it may not bring over those payments, and it may start over. So
It
you
does.
need to speak with someone to make sure, because you may not want to consolidate if it's going to start your payment cycle over.
Okay. Do I negotiate net 30 or net 60? And do you have a link for applying for EIN? The link for applying for EIN is literally www.irs.gov. You can put in the search EIN, it pops up and it walks you through the entire process. The LLC, you can go to www.sos.ok.gov. That one is a little bit more complicated to get through and to maneuver, but under Boss Encounters, which is what I do, that's a service that I provide where your EIN and your LLC, helping you to actually file that, I do for $50. But you still pay your $100 fee to file for your LLC. But as far as how do I negotiate net 30 or net
Athena,
60?
so when you're starting out, you won't have any negotiation power. So you're just going to have to accept the terms that are giving. Once you start to build, probably around tier 2 or 3, once you have about 10 to 12 accounts, they will offer you more, or then you can ask at that point. But starting out, you don't have any negotiation room.
All right, well, Ms. Shamika, thank you once again.
Can you put, they're asking for the website for LLC. Can you put that in the secretary? Yeah, there you go. And it's real, I mean, I don't want to say, but yeah, it's, it's easy to do both, the LLC, the EIN.
Yes, it's relatively easy to do both of them, but if you're one of those technically challenged people, there are tools and people like myself. You can come to one of our WHOW events, and we also show you how to do that as well. But here is Miss Shamika's information to be able to reach her, to get more expert information. And Shamika, thank you once again for coming in. I'm going to go ahead. If you did not get that information, I will also post it in the chat. Now we're going to go ahead and go to our next drawing. So there are 3 people that made it the first time. Now, once again, to win our prizes today, everybody that enters to win will receive a free budget, compliments of Boss Encounters. But also for this drawing, we had 3 people enter. We have one more, and they will be mailed out. You will get this beautiful paparazzi set on the right side of the screen. This is the choker chain. It's silver and it comes with the earrings. Lovely set. It complements a lot of your outfits. And I'm going to go ahead and start. Let me find the wheel. We had 3 people that actually got in. So hopefully they're looking at the screen. Their names will stay in for the next. And the winner is Miss Angela Harding. Congratulations. Yay! And the other names will remain in the drawing, and we will add all other names. So if you haven't had a time to be able to share to win, please make sure you don't have to be present online to win the budget, but you do have to be present online to win the actual prize. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and go into our next speaker. So today we're going to have the wonderful Miss Julia Richards Bishop with Primerica. She is an expert to be able to show you about financial freedom. So without further ado, I'm going to bring her on the screen. And I'm going to have her to unmute just a second. Hello, Miss Julia.
Hello. Hello, Crystal. What a privilege to be here. Can you all hear okay? I didn't do a sound check with you, so can you hear okay?
Yes.
Okay, terrific.
Wonderful.
Terrific. Well, good morning, good afternoon, whatever time it is. I have been engrossed in what you ladies have said. And I am excited and I'm humbled to be here. Very humbled to be here. Shamika, unbelievable. That was just fabulous. And then, of course, Crystal, you always have quality programs, always. I don't know how you do it, but
Thank
uh,
you.
yes, like I said, I'm so grateful to be here. And, you know, I'm not going to tell you all anything you probably don't know today, but I will remind all of us of some of the basics. Obviously, I work with personal finance, but I found that how we do anything is how we do everything. How we do anything is how we do everything. And I think of going back to the basics always, just like the great football coach Vince Lombardi. Now, whether you love football or hate football or whatever, Vince Lombardi was an amazing coach. And he would start every season with trained professional multi-million-dollar football players. He started the season by holding up a football and saying, "Gentlemen, this is a football." Okay, so that's kind of crazy. What was his point? His point was we must always, always go back to the basics. So, you know, I'm not going to tell you anything that you don't know, like I mentioned, but just to remind all of us, and I want to make two very bold proclamations. Number one, it's time for God's people to have the wealth. And if you want to throw in an amen, you're welcome to, but it's time for God's people to have the wealth. And I mean shameless wealth and abundance. And it can happen. I don't care where you're starting from. It can happen. And the second thing is God wants you to win the financial game. God wants you to win the financial game. Number one, because he's intelligent, okay? And number two, because we are his hands and feet carrying salt and light to the desperate generations. And doing so, if you've noticed, takes a lot of money, whether it's getting Bibles to people who've never had the word in their region of the world, or clean water for people, or food for people, vaccinations, all kinds of things. So I guess first, I always like to start with people's thinking, because finance, whether it's personal or business, involves so much psychology of success, which leaves clues. All right, success leaves clues. And I tell my clients, first of all, forgive yourself. Forgive yourself if you've ever made a financial mistake. And please raise your hand if you've never made a financial mistake. I cannot raise my hand. I think I've made them all. You see, when they found me, I was $40,000 in credit card debt. And you have to work at that to do that, by the way. But I was $40,000 in credit card debt with creditors calling, and they were horrible. I mean, I thought the FBI was coming after me. But someone cared enough about me to say, "Julia, let me take you by the hand. Let me teach you actually how money works, because there are laws and rules to the money game, and it is a game. It's a game. Let me teach you how money works and coach you." We all need a coach, right? And then help you with financial strategies. Because see, our best thinking has gotten us to where we are today. Would you agree with that? Our best thinking has gotten us to where we are today. So here's an analogy I use. Just because I know first aid doesn't mean I'm going to do my own surgery, right? Just because I know first aid doesn't mean I'm going to do my own surgery. A surgeon doesn't even do his own surgery. We need to be able to ask for help, ask for a refresher. And so let's work together to discover the financial treasure map. This is what I tell clients. Look, I'm just the guide. I am just the guide. But let's go shoulder to shoulder and become little professors together and work on building your financial treasure map, your financial GPS, so we can get you totally debt free and properly protected along the way and to that shameless wealth and abundance. So second, I believe that having financial strategies versus just buying a bunch of random financial products is very key. Strategy is everything. And it's a huge part of investing into our financial futures. Because listen, don't we work because we want a great financial future? I mean, when we're retired, you know, if we live to age 90, do we want to be eating cat food or chimichangas and caviar, right? So strategy is a huge part of investing in our financial future. And we invest in our financial future by learning and growing and having a written game plan, because someday, ladies and gentlemen, we will live in that financial future. It's great to invest in our future because someday we're going to live there. So I want to share my screen and show you all a video, which, and I'll share my sound. I've learned to do that, share computer sound. You all check it.
Question 4. What are some of the financial tools or concepts you use and teach to help people become wealthy? This is an important part of the conversation. These tools are not just good for helping other people, they can be powerful in your life too. The first one is a favorite for us because it addresses the most painful part of dealing with money, debt. We have a strategy that helps prioritize the quickest way to become debt-free. This is called debt stacking. It's when you pay off one debt and then use those dollars to pay off the next debt and to continue that pattern until you are totally free from debt. Using this strategy, you can pay off debt several years faster, saving thousands of dollars in interest payments and invest exponentially more in your retirement. Let's say you have $1,500 of debt payments, not including your home mortgage. Using the debt stacking strategy, you can have that $1,500 freed up in probably 2 or 3 years, and once it's freed up, you can invest that $1,500. If you invest $1,500 per month for the next 20 years, at a conservative 9% return, you'd have just over $1 million. We can show you more about how this works so you can understand it really well. Being in debt is so painful. This is a powerful way to crush it and move on. It's really fun helping other people understand it and then watching them untangle from debt. Another very important concept is the rule of 72. It tells you how long it takes to double your money. It's a great tool for people who are just starting to figure out how to invest. The rule of 72 uncovers something that the bank and insurance industries often don't talk about, and that's because it reveals how you can make a lot more money investing your dollars instead of saving it in banks or paying too much for life insurance. A lot of us were taught to put money away in a savings account. But if we're saving for the long term, that's not the best idea. If you put your money in a bank, you get a small return. If you invest your money, you can see a much larger return because of something called the power of compound interest. For example, if you invest $200 a month for 35 years, your money would grow to $148,683 at a 3% interest rate. At a 6% interest rate, it would have grown to $286,366. But if you would have received a 12% interest rate, your money would have grown to $1,299,053. That's the power of compound interest. Your money can earn you more money just by being in the right place. Another very important thing we talk about.
Okay, let me stop share there. And am I still sharing my computer sound? I may be. So those are just some basic concepts, like I mentioned, and obviously with individuals, we get specific into the details of their finances. But just again, to reiterate, I believe God wants you to win financially. And if I can help you in any way, please feel free to reach out to me. Again, thank you for your time. Thank you for this privilege. Crystal, this has been such an honor for me, and I'll turn it back over to you now.
Okay, I'm coming back up. Thank you, Miss Julia. So I also wanted to ask, tell us more about what you do on a day-to-day basis.
Okay. What I do is I have financial GPS software. And so I teach people the basics about literally how money works, the rules of the game, the rule of 10, the rule of 600, the rule of 72. And I know you all may know these, you may not. And by the way, I heard Dave Ramsey's name mentioned. He actually trained with Primerica for over 11 years. And he and Roy Matlock in our company had a consulting business. So where Dave learned his concepts is from Primerica. Of course, he branched off and branded his own, and Roy's at the top of our food chain now, and both of them are filthy, stinking financially independent. But what I do is I start by finding out what is the knowledge about money of the people I'm working with. And one basic question, again, this sounds so simple, but what's important about money to you? Some people say, well, I don't want to lose what I have. And others say, I need more. So we usually start from where they are and do an analysis. And this is free of charge to them, okay? There are a lot of loss leaders I give up front to down the line make sure that they have everything in place. So teach them the concepts and run their financial GPS with them. Again, shoulder to shoulder. I'm just the guide, but we become little professors together and develop their financial treasure map to get them totally debt-free as soon as possible with that debt stacking, properly protected along the way so they don't risk their assets. We get them an emergency fund, $1,000 immediately, and then 1 month and 2 months and 3 months of net pay, take-home pay. And then we have sister companies that have products and services that if the strategy calls for it and we can do something better, then we ask them for their business, but only if we can do something better, and they're the judge of that. Did I answer that for you?
Yes, you did. That was amazing. So the rule of 10, explain to us the rule of 10, or is that something that you could explain to us to put in a simple terms for people?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. And if I'm trying not to use too much industry language, although listen, you all are very intelligent. We've already seen that. So the rule of 10 means that we need income protection. It's generic. It's usually called life insurance. We need income protection 10 times our annual average. Okay. So I'm picking a number for a person who makes $50,000 a year, we need 500,000. Okay. Well, that sounds like a lot. And I've had, this is humorous, I've had men say, well, I'm not leaving her a chunk of money. She'll go get the bodybuilder, the house on the hill, and the Lexus, right? And I'm like, dude, number one, you cannot be dead and jealous at the same time. And number two, she's already had perfection. So I think you're good. But 500,000 sounds like a lot when it comes to income protection. And a couple of things. Number one, we put full coverage on a brand new vehicle, don't we?
Yes.
Why do we do that? To avoid the risk of if somebody wrecks our vehicle, we owe all that money. But why don't we put full coverage on our income earning ability? Because that's our greatest asset.
Yes,
Our second greatest asset is our ability, our second greatest asset is what we pay for a home, okay? 3 or 4 times over, right? But our greatest asset is our ability to earn income. And if the breadwinner's income goes away because that person dies, then the family has that emotional loss, but they also have that tremendous financial loss. So what I teach people is what Dave Ramsey and Jane Bryant Quinn, if you've heard of her, Susie Orman, CNBC Money, a lot of the consumerists teach by term insurance, a straight term policy for a term of time, while you're getting totally debt-free and money in place through 401k, IRAs, whatever investments you have. Okay, so let's look at that 500,000 in this example. The breadwinner passes, and I have a check for 500,000 to deliver to that spouse. I don't do that. I don't just hand that person 500,000. Number one, the friends and family are going to come out of the woodwork to help them with the money, okay? And number two, it's time to rerun the financial GPS for that individual who's left, discover where are we today, what's needed, and then we can take that 500,000, invest it in a moderate 10% interest-bearing account, and that principal generates 50,000 year after year after year after year. That's income replacement, okay? And often income protection is what we spend on full coverage for a vehicle or less for an entire family. So you see how that concept of give the check, it's spent, because we tend to be emotional spenders, or deliver the check, help them invest that and live off the interest. And that principal never stops generating interest. So that's the rule of 10. 10 times our income, our annual earnings, our annual gross income in term life insurance.
Nice. I love it. So another thing that I think is very important of being financially free right now in the middle of COVID is, what do you think for the company that you work with, and we're just going to stick with that, we won't talk about industry wide, have you seen a lot of people pulling their money or not making their insurance payments or not making their investment payments because of COVID? And how is that affecting them?
Okay, great question. When COVID hit, I immediately sent a letter, just a blast out to everybody. Okay, COVID is nasty, but we're here for you. And we are not seeing people pull money. We're seeing people invest. Now, first of all, they are making their payments because the very basis of the financial house we help them build is emergency fund. Okay.
Gotcha.
And emergency fund, we need to start with 1,000 immediately. And I tell people, have a garage sale or estate sale if you have an estate. Sell some stuff, because people will buy your junk. Okay. And they'll buy your good stuff too. But it's amazing how many people have cash on hand and they will buy things and you get money, or go deliver pizzas, go DoorDash or whatever. I'm not advocating necessarily any company, but there are ways to make money. And when we free up our psyche, when we free up our mind, we become creative.
Yes.
So that emergency fund. And personal story, my husband is a pharmacist. He was laid off June 26th of this year as a pharmacist, you guys. Laid off, done. And the one thing, because you know what the date is now, it's been over 2 months. The one thing we didn't have to struggle with was, oh my gosh, what are we going to do? Because we were taught to put 6 months of net income in place. And we actually are blessed to have 6 months of gross income in place. So I said, hun, I'm concerned about you. We don't have to worry about the finances. If you want to retire, if you want to work in oncology pharmacy again, whatever you want to do. But I told him, you take the rest of the summer off and determine what you want to do. And so that was such a blessing to have that. We build the financial house from the bottom up, because we really can't build a structure of any kind from the third story. So yes, we have people. I've had only one redemption, or one person stop their investments out of a lot, because they're both in businesses where they were just on shutdown. And so they're responsible people. They had invested wisely. He needed a surgery, and what they had there was exactly what he needed for that surgery. So I said, you have to do what you have to do. And some forgiveness as far as the IRS is concerned. I got them with a tax person, because I don't do taxes. Hope I never do. But I hope that helps, Crystal. And no, people have
Yes.
been, yeah, people have been continuing. In fact, investing is really fun. When the market, Warren Buffett said, when the masses panic, get excited. So what do you think most people did when the market corrected or crashed, if you call it that? Most people panicked and they sold. But
Yes.
that's the opposite, you guys. The wealthy people, and if we want what wealthy people have, we have to think like they think and do like they do, right? Wealthy people were looking for buying opportunities. So the market went down and they bought at pennies on the dollar. It's called a sale, a blue light special in the market. And I had people pouring money into their accounts when the market was down. By the way, about 2.5 weeks ago, the market came back to an all-time high for the year pre-COVID. So it's been a roller coaster, and we're in an election year. We'll probably have another dip. But when you have these strategies in place and a solid financial house built on rock, not sand, that house stands. Okay.
So true. Oh my gosh, that was so enlightful. So we're going to open up for questions. So if anyone has any questions, if you could put them in the chat. Thank you again, Miss Julia, for enlightening us with that word. That was amazing. And especially, I mean, a lot of people don't see it, but the significance of not pulling your money and not living in fear and making rash decisions that will affect the entire course of your life. So financial freedom has a lot to do with making decisions now that will lead into the future and making decisions that are sound without fear, and knowing that when you make those decisions, they'll last. I want to thank you again for coming and blessing us with that. I don't see any questions as of yet, but I am going to.
And Crystal, I hope I wasn't too basic. I don't mean to insult people with the basics.
Oh, no,
But
I think basics is what gets us where we need to be. I'm going to put your information on the screen so people can actually find you. And if they would like more information, they are more than welcome to reach directly out to Miss Julia and get the information that you need. Of course, she works with Primerica. A lot of people know them for insurance, but they are investment tools as well, financial building. There's a lot of different ways. We chose Primerica today. I used to work for a financial organization myself, so I know the importance of building your financial base. So wherever you choose to go to invest, here's just another tool that you can use and put into your hat, put into your knowledge base if you don't have the tools that you need. So with that being said, we are up to our next giveaway. And like I said before, everyone that gives today will be receiving a free budget, compliments of Boss Encounters. But even more importantly, we have another giveaway on the screen, if you can see it. Miss Angela Chambers with Paparazzi has given us another wonderful giveaway. Beautiful, beautiful. We have a chat. Let me see what the chat says. Oh, Miss Tanya Bowie said, or Bowie, great presentations, both ladies. I learned a lot. Thank you for your time. So we have this wonderful giveaway, and I'm going to stop sharing my screen as I pull up our wheel, because we already have all of the people that have given. Just 1 second. And let's see. May the odds be forever in your favor. Let's see who our winners are, or who the winner. Here's the wheel. We have Miss Tanisha Scott, Rose, Felicia Battle, and Miss Nisi G. So the winner is, OMG, Miss Felicia Battle. I hope I'm right. Yay! Congratulations. Congratulations. So proud of you. So You will receive your gift after this event. We will make sure we have your information and that will be mailed to you. The wonderful paparazzi. So now we are going to dive right into the last part of our meeting. I'm going to share my screen just a moment because I promised you guys that we would have financial freedom. So your very own today, Miss Crystal Ifukoya, I am your host, but I am also presenting the financial freedom portion. I am a life consultant, mainly business, but I also help with life in a whole. So we're just going to go right through this presentation. So I have put together a list of things to help you to become more financially free. And if you have a pen, hopefully you write this down because this is going to be groundbreaking for you. It is going to make sure that you have the tools you need to be successful and to make sure that you are going the right direction with your business. So, or with whatever you're doing in your life, financial freedom is the most important to you being successful in your life. So, the first thing is to visualize it and then make a plan. So if you don't have a pen, if you don't have a pencil, I'm going to give you like to the count of 20 to go ahead and pick that up, find it, reach for it, write it down, pick up your phone, make notes in your phone, because you don't want to miss these tips that I am about to give to you. And this is only going to be available if you watch this video. So, write it down so you have it in your memory bank. The first thing, like I said, is visualize. Where do you want to go? Where do you see yourself? How do you look? If you look 10 years down the road, what do you look like? How successful are you? What goals have you put into place to make sure that you are reaching your full potential? This is just a little bit of what you need. Once you visualize it, I want you to write down those things and write down one thing per year up to the 10 years. So you should have a total of 10 things that you should be working on over the next 10 years. At least 10 things over the next 10 years. After you do that, you need to put together your budget to make sure that the plan that you have in place is going to suffice. Now, these are not all in order. These are just things that you need. So creating a budget, knowing how much your rent, your electric, your phone, your cable, your gas, your water, your expenses. One thing I think people let go of the most is how much they spend on social media games. Believe it or not, social media games is something that people use and they don't even pay notice to it. They're Netflix. OMG. If I could tell you how many people that I've created a budget for and they did not budget for their Netflix account, their YouTube subscription, their Spotify, their little bitty subscriptions that are adding up month over month, year after year, and it's not in their budget because it's so small. But even if it's $1 per month, you need to have that in your budget. Spend less than you earn. You should make that a all year resolution, not just a new year resolution, an all year resolution. Spend less than you earn. How do you know how much you spend? By creating a budget. How do you make sure you spend less? To sticking to your budget and save. Save what you don't spend. Don't be like, oh, I got this extra $50. What can I do with it? Put that $50 up, because when you get 70, when you get at retirement, I'm telling you, you're going to think back to that $50. You're going to think back to that $20. You're going to be like, I spent that money on something that I don't even use. It wasn't even worth it. Those clothes that I bought, I only wore once. I got no use out of it. So make sure you're spending less than you earn. Building smarter and creating safety nets. How do you build smarter and how do you create a safety net? Well, both of the ladies that came here today, when you build, you need to have credit. Miss Shamika went over that very wonderfully. Miss Julia spoke about having a fund. Having a safety net is like having a fund, having an emergency fund. Like she said, you need to have 6 to 10. Most people say 6 months. I'm going to say you need a year, because look at COVID. If you look at COVID right now, COVID started about March. We shut down about March. We are now into September. That is exactly 6 months. So if you only had 6 months worth of income, we're still in COVID, and we'll probably be in COVID until we get through this next flu season, which isn't over until about March. That's a whole nother 6 months. So having enough and building smarter. And if you are getting money right now, if you did get what was it? The stimulus check that they gave to us. Did you invest it wisely? Or did you go and buy your next TV that you never could have afforded? Did you take that money and did you spend it wisely? Did you start something that you could build? Did you begin another business? Or did you take that money and you used it as, this is extra money that I didn't have and I'm going to spend it? Knowing the difference is what's going to set you apart from being successful now and being successful later. Eliminating your debt. The stimulus check showed a lot of people where their priorities were. But I know people that actually took that stimulus check and they eliminated debt that was piling up on them. If you haven't took that time to eliminate your debt so that you can build your credit, both personally and professionally, your business credit and your personal credit, then those are things that you should really start considering now, because your ability to be successful is going to lie in your power to create wealth. Your power is greatly tied to your ability to eliminate your debt. If you don't have debt, great for you. Keep that up, because you being successful is going to start with you eliminating your debt. But there is more to being financially free than eliminating your debt. As we just covered, if you've eliminated your debt, but you're still not using the practices correctly to save your money, you're going to find yourself back in debt. A very interesting term that people used to say is, I'm a paycheck away from being bankrupt, a paycheck away from being homeless, a paycheck away from not having anything. So get away from being a paycheck away, getting rid of your debt, making sure that you are spending less than you have coming in are great ways for you to be successful. I know you don't want to hear this, but if you are in debt and if you want to be financially free, you may have to consider changing your career. It may be time to start your own business, or it may just be time to find a better job. Don't stay where you do not have the means to take care of your needs. If that means you have to go back to school, if that means you have to get additional training, if that means that you have to work a little bit harder outside of your job to make sure that you get a better career, that's what you need to do. That doesn't mean you have to go to a traditional school. That doesn't mean that you have to spend thousands of dollars to make sure that you're successful. That means that you are taking the time to make sure that your needs are being met. You know what lifestyle you want to have. So make sure that you are doing what you need to do to be successful in life. If you don't like your career, start looking. Indeed is a wonderful tool. If you don't like Indeed, you can also go to your local workforce or the unemployment office. There could be jobs that have the same skill levels but pay way more money. One thing that I learned about employers, they will get you in and they will pay you more up front than they ever will throughout the years of you working there. I work for a very, very large corporation. I've done it time and time again. And the money looks so great at first. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm making $16 an hour. I'm making $20 an hour. But when you start to look at it, when you look at their bonuses, when you look at their payout schedules, when you look at what you get year after year, eventually it starts to catch up and the cost of living increases. So when the cost of living increases, your pay is not increasing to keep up with that. It may be time to look at, can I get a raise? Or is there another department I can go to? Or maybe, you can ask, what are some opportunities for me to make extra money at your job? And if you can't, then it's time to move on. You've outgrown your job. And once you've outgrown your job, it's time to move on, because it tells us that we should not become stagnant. So when you get to a stagnant point, it's time to change careers and make sure that you have the tools so that you're successful and that you're not in the same spot forever. One of the things that a lot of people don't want to hear is that you are living above your means. And when you're living above your means, you have to downsize. What's the use of having a 5-bedroom home, 3-car garage, 3 baths, and you're struggling every single month to pay your bills? Reassess what's important to you. Is it your bedroom? Is it the bathrooms? Is it the garages? Downsize. And I promise you, people will look at you more earnestly. Who cares about the gossipers? Don't try to keep up with the Joneses, because the Joneses can't even keep up with the Joneses right now. Make sure you are living for just you and you are living within your means. And it's okay to downsize. If you have a Mercedes and you need to step down to a Lexus, do what you need to do. Or if you're in a Lexus and you need to step down to a Mitsubishi, that's what you have to do. Still foreign car, different maker, way less price, but the same good qualities that you're used to having. You have to know what's important to you and you going to the next level. If you want to be financially free, you have to make sure that you have what you need to be successful in this life. And no one is going to feel bad about that. I praise people that, the worst thing is seeing someone that's living in a mansion and you know that they can't afford it. And they're living in this mansion. They've only decorated one room. They have no way of keeping up the yard. They have no way to pay all the utilities. So the electric is on, but the water is off. Or the electric is on, but they have no cable. Or they have no internet. Downsize. Get into something that's just right for you. And don't worry about what people say, because people are going to talk about you regardless if you're in a mansion or if you're living in a cot on the side of the road. They're going to talk about you. And it doesn't mean because you live in a mansion that they talk good about you. I promise you, people that live in a cot, if they know that it's the best cot and you kept it as clean as you possibly can, I'd rather go sit in a cot with someone I love than someone in a mansion that I hate. So just make sure that you are living within your means and you downsize if that's what is going to make you financially free. Buying assets that generate income. Now, a lot of people think right now, oh, I'm going to start a t-shirt business. Don't start a t-shirt business if you are not dedicated to it. If you are doing it just for a hobby, that's not what you should do. But there are real people out here, and I know one, she's right on this live right now, Miss Tanisha Scott, which I will be reaching out to her after this. I know that was a low blow, and hopefully she puts her information in the comments, but she has a t-shirt business. I see people, they got their stimulus check and they went to buy these t-shirt businesses, or they went to start these elaborate businesses, and 6 months down the road they're not doing them anymore. So not only is that it's no longer an asset, it now has become a liability, because now you have to figure out what you're going to do with this stuff. And as soon as you buy the press machine and all the materials, it loses value. No one wants to use your used stuff. So you're not going to get the same value that you got out of it. You want to buy cash flowing assets. You want to buy things, you want to invest in things that are going to make you money. If you know that you can make money selling cupcakes, sell the cupcakes, but don't sell the cupcakes if you can't cover the cost of the cupcakes and sell it at a reasonable price. I personally, I don't care if you are an expert at making cupcakes. I am not buying a $10 cupcake. I could I could buy 10 boxes of cupcake mix and make them myself and sell them myself and make a relatively large profit for $10. So know whatever you're doing, that it is building you up and not tearing you down. Also, make sure you share or you sell your assets. If you have an asset that you can't sell or share with anyone else, it's probably not a good asset. And make sure that eventually you can find a way to keep making that income without you doing all the nitty-gritty work every single month. I see it time and time again. People will start these businesses and they are working so hard that they have no time for family, no time for their friends, no time to enjoy life. So what is the use of having an asset that is causing you misery? Find a business plan, find an asset, find a passive income that is going to generate you money without you working your bones to death, without you deteriorating your health. Now, there are 4 assets that are priceless in our lives. And I'm going to tell you what those 4 assets are right now. Your spirituality, your success, your ability to make income, your relationships with your family, and your health. Believe it or not, your spirituality is tied to all of those, and your health affects all of those as well. So if you get your spiritual right, then your health will fall into place. And once your health is in place, you have the ability to make money, and you have the ability to actually create long-lasting relationships with the people that you need in your lives. I hope that that is something that you take in dearly, because a lot of people think that assets is only money. Assets is whatever you make that is going to help you to generate the money you need to be successful. Make sure that you invest wisely. I see over and over again. I don't know how many, and I have nothing against MLMs other than the fact that it's an MLM. If you want to invest your money into a foo-foo, a su-su, or anything else, that is fine. But if you invest your money, be willing to let that investment go, because there is a slight chance that that investment may never return to you. But that goes for anything. Whatever you let go, you are letting go with the mind frame of it's going to come back to me. And if you don't have that mind frame, if you're scared of the investment, then don't do the investment. You should be investing wisely. You should know where your money is going. You would not ever, would you give $100 to someone that you knew didn't deserve it and know that they're not going to invest it properly? No, you wouldn't. So make sure that whatever investment that you go into, that is something that you can live up to, that is something that you're proud to own up to, and make sure that it is something that is going to produce the results that you like. Make sure that it is a way that is not only going to create an income now, but also can create an income down the road. When you invest, you always look into what you're investing into. Look at the reviews. Find out who else is investing in them. Don't just go out there and give your money to anyone. Make sure that they look at their record. They may have made money this year, but look at their history. Maybe every 10 years this when you make money, but you lose money for 9 years. Find out if that is an investment that lines up with where you are and where you are trying to go. Now, always know where you stand financially. There are financial literacy indicators that you should be aware of. Being financially aware is something that comes in a complete circle. You should be aware where you stand financially. You should know where your bills stand. You should know where your financial knowledge is, like the rule of 20, the rule of 10, the rule of 72. There are so many rules. There's a snowball effect. You should find out where you are. Create your budget. Make sure that you have the tools you need to be successful. Use e-finance tools. Make sure that you have a culture of finance. Know where you stand on your personal, know where you stand on your business. Make sure you're balancing your check account. If you don't have a check account, make sure you're balancing your PayPal. Don't get into the hype, as they call it, of going and using Cash App all the time if you don't have a way of monitoring and actually getting that money over to your bank account so that you can balance your bank account. For me, my Cash App is my emergency fund. And I like to keep money in there so that I can pay certain people. But after I get to a certain amount in my Cash App, I cash out. So I only keep a certain amount in my Cash App, and then I move the other money over into my actual bank account. The same with PayPal. I have a certain balance that I'll keep in my PayPal, but after it gets to that balance, everything in excess of that, I go ahead and transfer into my actual bank account so that I can see that I have money coming in. And if you are a business owner, you have to be sure that you have your personal separated from your business, or you will not know if you're getting paid. You should be paying yourself from your money. Now, even more being about financially aware is knowing who's around you, knowing your surroundings. You are only successful as the people around you. Your network is your net worth. So if you're hanging around people and they're not making a positive input into your life, it is time for you to move on to the next level. It's time for you to get into a spot where you are around people that are creating a net worth that is worth you being a part of. If you have friends that are not going anywhere in in their lives, that's fine. You should be a role model to them, but in no way should you ever feel that you are hanging around them and that they have advice that is going to help you get to your next level. You need to have good people that are smarter than you and below you. The people smarter than you are the people that you aspire for. The people below you is there so that they can look up to and that you can remind yourself of where you've been at. But you should not be around people all the time that are lower, that have a lower income, that have lower expectations of you, because guess what? Your circle is going to start to gravitate around who these people are. So increase your knowledge, increase your financial ability. Your financial freedom is going to be based upon the people that you're around. If you have a lot of people that are borrowing money from you all the time, then you need to let them know you are fully capable of taking care of your financial needs. And that is the hardest thing to tell someone, but they are fully capable of taking care of their financial needs. And if they are not, you should refer them to WHOW. You should refer them to resources so that they can become financially stable. But you making sure that they're financially stable is hurting your ability to become financially free. I hope I'm setting somebody financially free just by saying that. Let go of friends and family that are bumming off of you, because you cannot become financially free if they are in your pockets all the time. So once again, thank you for your time. Boss Encounters is the name of my business, and I'm not going to put it on the slide because this is all about WHOW, and you can find me through WHOW, and a lot of these tools I provide right through WHOW. And we're about to get ready for the next drawing, or the last little part. Everyone that signs up today www.wownetwork.org/win. They will receive a personal monthly budget. And I'm going to stop sharing my screen so that I can address some of the chat questions. If you have questions, this is the time that you unmute yourself and you can actually talk, because this is the time that I want to hear feedback. Or if you have any questions about any of the stuff that we spoke about today, both Shamika and Miss Julia are still online. So if you want to put it in the chat, I would love to hear your questions. I would love to hear what you have to say. Any questions?
Well, Crystal, first of all, that was off the chain. Thank you so much. Yeah, I was like sitting here going, amen, just sister, that's awesome. So thank you.
Thank you. I think a lot of people think that being financially free, there's a secret recipe. Like there's a set path that you can follow. And that's not true, because everybody has their own journey. Everyone has their own financial journey. Everyone has their own life journey, and you have to find what works best for you. So for some of the people on here, repairing their credit is where it is. For others, their ability to invest is important to them. For others, they needed to hear, I need life insurance because I want to leave a legacy for my children. And I want to make sure that they have something left behind so that they're not struggling if I'm the breadwinner. If I'm the breadwinner, if I leave, how does that affect my family? How does that affect my surroundings? So knowing what that is, knowing who you are, knowing how to get to the next level is going to be greatly important by knowing what your journey is. And once you have your path, you are able to help other people to create that same path. So I guess I don't see any questions, which is amazing. I'm going to go into the rest of our slide because there are some upcoming things that I want you guys to know about. Of course, we have our yearly schedule. We're coming to an end of 2020. The rest of the events for the entire rest of the year are all virtual, and the Empower Hour is the one coming up next. We have the writing workshop and the WHOW celebration. Well, the celebration is actually going to be, we're going to have to change it because it was going to be in person. We're going to have cake. We're going to have all these wonderful vendors. So we're going to take that experience online. So if you're a vendor, t-shirt, jewelry, whatever you sell, we're going to do a celebration and we're going to list your information and we're going to do little mini hot spots. So with these hot spots, the different vendors are going to be able to come up, tell about their business, and tell people how to find them. And they're going to give away an item. That's all. That is it. And it's going to be free for everyone to come and witness. But I cannot wait for our WOW celebration because it's going to be amazing. Empower Hour. If you have not, and let me back up, all of our events, you can go to www.wownetwork.org/events to be able to find them. We have our Empower Hour, 7 women in 7 minutes. That is October 10th, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. We also have the leadership program that is about to start in 2021. So we want you to be a part of that. Become a leader, learn how to lead your own organization, learn how to create positive vibes in the community that you live in. This is a virtual event, so you don't have to worry about coming into a classroom. We are changing the way we think at WOW, and we realize that the way of the world right now is virtual, and we're going to keep that same energy and keep it going. And these are some of the benefits for signing up for the WOW leadership program. It's, of course, you have to be a paid member of $25 and commit to learning, and you can sign up today at www.wownetwork.org/leader. We are looking to grow our team. So if you are a mentor, if you know how to host, you're a web designer, you do events, you're a greeter, if you do photography, newsletter, this is a wonderful way to grow your business and to get your name out there so that more people know that you exist. So we want you to be a part of everything that we have going on in 2020. Membership, of course, is $25 for the year. I don't know anywhere where you can go and get all of the information that we give. Mentorship, you can get leadership, you can get advice, and we offer that for the mere price of $25 per month. Please join us. Go to www.wownetwork.org/members, or you can also become a speaker. You can email us. Whoops, let me go back. Become a member at the member link. You can make donations at our donation link. You can join us. We hope that you follow us on Facebook. We would love to hear from you. On Facebook, just look for WOW Organization and you can become a member. Now, I saved this last one for the very end because this event that we have going on right now with our 2020 fundraiser. This is our fundraiser for 2020. And I'm about to pull it up on the screen. And we just made some changes, and it's not even out there yet because I haven't had time to put it out there yet. But we have the Glam Her, whoops, what happened? I guess it's not on a rotate. So we have the Glam Her makeup contest coming up. And we originally had it for $25 per person. And after speaking with the board and board members, it doesn't want to keep playing on its own. So I'm just going to put it up there and I'm going to pause it so it doesn't go anywhere. Instead of making it $25 to register this first year, we're going to do it for free. Yes, you heard it, for free. And the $500 grand prize is still in place. Yes, we said it. If you know how to do makeup, you need to join our Glam Her makeup contest. We will be having 5 weeks of contests. We have judges, we have makeup tips. We're going to show people what WOW is all about in the form of makeup. So if you know someone that has the ability to do makeup, that is a makeup artist, that aspires to be a makeup artist, tell them to join our contest. Now, up until the end of this event, it will still show that it is $25. So tell them to wait until 5 o'clock this afternoon. And at 5 o'clock, it will be free to register for the makeup contest. So once again, if you know people, tell them, share it, tell them that they could be a part of that. It's amazing. I'm going to open up the floor because we have a lot of people on this call right now, and we have officially finished. We finished on time and on schedule. If you have any questions, this is the time. You can unmute yourself and you can ask either myself, Julia, or Shamika for the next 5 minutes. Any questions, anyone? Everyone's still muted, so I don't know if they have questions or I don't see the chat. Hold on, let me find the chat. Nothing in the chat as well. So I'm assuming everyone, there's still quite a few people on here. So if you have questions, you are more than welcome to ask any questions. All right. Well, if you won one of our prizes, you are more than welcome to reach out to me directly. And that's at info@wownetwork.org. You can also text us at 918-401-0771. That is our direct line. Someone will respond to you immediately. And if you are interested in being a part of anything that we have going on, we would love to hear from you. We would love to see more of you. And with signing off, I thank everyone that came out that was a part of financially freeing yourself. And I hope that you became financially free. Shamika, Julia, do you have any last words?
No, just thank you, Crystal, for the opportunity.
Thank
Yes, ma'am.
you. And
Thank
I
you so
appreciate
much.
this time that we've had together.
Thank you. God bless you all.
All right. Bye.